welcome to art class. Hi. Come on in. Hi, how are you? You guys doing good? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy to have you guys. It's gonna be a fun day today. See where your paper is? Alright. Hi everyone, welcome to Miss Abby's art class. Today we're going to be looking at printmaking. Anyone ever done printmaking? Let's show of hands. No, shake head, no. So this is new to everyone, alright? I'm pretty excited. We're going to be doing relief printing today. So we're going to start out by looking at animals today, right? Anybody have any pets? Any pets at home? Yes? Okay, what do you have?
Dog.
A dog? What's your dog's name?
Chris.
Alright, cool. You have a?
Dog. Samuel.
Oh, brothers and sisters, same dog. Alright, what do you have?
Lots of cats.
You have lots of cats. I have a dog, her name is Chloe. She's very small. She's not gonna get any bigger. That's how to do. Pet? Her name is?
Teddy.
Teddy. Oh, cute. Pets? No pets? No pets? Alright, we have to get you guys some pets. Alright, so each student, you're going to receive a different animal, and you're going to receive a styrofoam, okay? So I'm going to go around and everyone is going to get their individual animal. And everything I give to you is yours, so there'll be no sharing, okay? So everyone has their own styrofoam and their own paper. So I'm going to walk around and then we're going to get our own designs, alright? Okay. We have a bird, we have an elephant, we have a rabbit, we have a monkey, we have a turtle, dog, butterfly. Just say an animal and then you get one. You got a horse? Monkey. Monkey. I don't have a panda. I have a rabbit. Not a panda. Elephant. You gonna take the rabbit? I should have done a panda. I agree. Okay. Bird. Elephant. Horse. Butterfly. Dog. Or turtles. I'm sorry? She already has her own. We don't want to be general. You have to pick one that's left or here. The horse? Alright, and the horse is this. Alright, now that we've all chosen our animal that we're going to be working with today, I am going to choose the Alright, so we all have our animals, right? Yes. So this is what we're gonna do. I'm going to tape your paper onto your styrofoam and then we're gonna trace it, okay? I'm gonna show you how to do it in just a minute. I'm gonna come around, grab it for you. So one thing to remember, once you start tracing it, you can't lift it up and look at it, okay? You have to wait till you're all the way finished to take it off, alright? So we're gonna keep it as best as we possibly can. Let me put some on the base of it as well. Alright. And if you have any question while we're doing this, say Miss Abby, and you raise your hand, okay? And then I'll come to you and I'll help you out. I really like the seahorse. I'm excited to see it. There you are. We grabbed our pencils and we are going to, as much as we can, we're gonna, you see your design? The outline of design, you're going to press on it, okay? And you're going to outline all of your animal. So you're gonna take your time and you're just gonna trace the lines, okay? Go ahead. Just trace it.
Trace on it?
Yep, just trace on it. Trace on top of it. We're tracing our lines. You're done? Yep, trace everything. Whenever you see that black line, even inside the animals, you go ahead and you trace it. The nose, the ears. Let's do this here. One more time. That's it. Did you do the line behind them? One more here.
My name is Wanda. I picked the fish because I think that would be the most easiest one for me to do. My name is Ashlyn, and I picked the rabbit because it's my second favorite animal.
Alright everyone. Hey, this way. What we're going to do now is that we're going to go ahead and we're going to put ink on it. So we're gonna paint it with printmaking ink. See, like how you have it with two separate colors? Good. Keep doing that. Cover all your roller, every bit of it. Keep covering. Keep rolling it. So look, see, it sounds like it's sticky. It has that sticky sound. That's good. Good. You look at my bird. You see it's all covered? See it's all covered and you can see my bird? You're watching me? You're gonna take it, put it on top of your print. That's it. That's it. We're just gonna put it and we're gonna let it stay, alright? So I'm gonna give everyone a sheet of paper. Huh? See, you put it on top. Once you put it down, let me help you a little bit. Up, up, up. All right, down and up. All right. So hold that hand. All right, now this is the most important part. This is the most important part. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take one hand, put it on the paper. That's it, just put it on the paper. Then this hand, we're gonna rub the paper. Don't let the paper shift, just rub, rub, just keep rubbing. Then after that, you take this hand out and you rub the other side of the paper. Try not to let it shift. Good job. Keep rubbing. Keep rubbing. Keep pressing and rubbing. Make sure the paper is not shifting. The edges. Yep, give it a little tap if you need to. Alright. Woo! This was our final step. We're gonna have beautiful prints. You ready to see it? Me too. Woo! Did we rub? Do we need to rub just a little bit more?
Yes.
Rub just a little bit more. Grab this one hand. Lift it, lift it, lift it, lift it, lift it. Go ahead, lift it off. Lift it, lift it, lift it all the way, all the way, all the way, all the way. And woo! Good job. Oh, keep pulling back. Keep pulling, keep pulling, keep pulling. Keep, woo! Lovely, good job. Good print. Good job. Okay, you're lifting from this side? Okay, go, I'm holding it, go. Keep going, I'm holding. Go. Keep going, go. And boom. Woo! Good job. All right, table 2, we ready?
Yes.
All right, let's go. Go. Wow. Good, wow. 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 Okay, I need your hand. Okay, because we don't want to mess it up. So we can put it down flat. Put it down flat. Good job. Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Almost there. Oh, wow. Ooh, woo! One more big pull. Oh! All right, everyone. Good job on your first screen printing activity. I'm excited to see what we do next. I'm really excited to see what we do next. You guys have some lovely prints. We're gonna leave them on the table as we exit. We're gonna wash our hands and we're gonna exit. We're gonna leave them on the table, let them dry, and tomorrow we'll be able to take them home, all right? Good job, everyone. So we're gonna do it one at a time. Oh, just go towards the sink, wash your hands, and then we'll leave.
Hey there, it's Gabby from Boys and Girls Club Joe Arlie. This week, I'm going to be showing you how to do a Monet-inspired painting using oil pastels and watercolor paints. So you need those two things, as well as some watercolor papers, a couple brushes, a cup of water, and then if you do have some painter's tape available, that will make the edges look nice and neat. Let's get started. We're going to be starting with our oil pastels and with our bridge. So you can pick up a light blue pastel, and near the top of our page, we're going to make a curved line, and that's going to be the center of our bridge. Next, I'm going to add lines above and below that center line that I made. This is going to make up the railings of the bridge. Don't be afraid to press hard with your oil pastel or go over it a couple times until you get a nice solid line. Now we're going to add some guardrails to our bridge. To do that, we're just going to make short lines, just going from that top line to the bottom line. And we want to space them out as evenly as we can. I'm going to add another short line in front of those short lines I just made. And what that's going to do is help our bridge look more three-dimensional. Now I'm going to pick up a darker blue color, and we're going to start adding some accents to our bridge. So with this, I'm going to start by making the bottom of the bridge a little bit thicker. I'm going to go ahead and add some darker blue to the top of the bridge as well. And I'm also going to add it to the second short line. So we're going to leave the first ones alone for right now and just do every other one. Now I'm going to grab my white pastel and go over those first ones. That's just going to make it look lighter, like they're a little bit more in the background, and it's going to give us an illusion that our bridge is three-dimensional. Next, I picked up some dark blue and I went over that middle line. Next, I'm going to grab a green pastel and I'm just going to add a little touch of some green right near where my dark blue is. It just gives it a little extra something. I'm going to go back to that light blue, the first pastel that I used to draw my bridge. And I'm just going to go over all these colors one more time. I like to push down hard with my pastel at this point, and it's going to blend all these different colors together and give our bridge a much more kind of blended, painted look. Okay, so now we're going to add some of that shrubbery around our pond. I'm going to pick up a blue colored pencil and start over in the right hand corner. Way down at the bottom of the page, I'm going to start adding these little lines kind of poking up from the corner. There's also a little cluster of some grass right below my bridge on the left side, so I'm going to go ahead and add that in. The fun thing about pastels is being able to layer the colors. So I'm going to take a green pastel and go over that blue grass that I made, and it's going to give it a cool kind of turquoisey look. From here, I'm going to add a little cluster above that first little bush that I made. And then I'm going to jump over to my yellow pastels for those bushes in the back. So I'm going to add bushes going up to the bridge, and then I'm going to bring them around below the bridge, and this is going to be like the other side of our pond. Next, I'm going to grab some green and go over that yellow with green. Don't be afraid to layer colors. If you want to add even more colors into it, you totally can. It's always fun to experiment and try out different things. Things I like to do is blend with a white oil pastel. So I'm going to try that out. I'm going to grab my white pastel and just go over some of those bushes, and you'll see how it starts kind of blending the two colors we have on the paper together. So that's kind of a fun thing if you want to try that, and it'll give your bushes a little bit more of a blended look. Next, I'm going to add those vines up at the top of my page, right over our bridge. So I'm going to grab some dark green, and I'm going to start doing these squiggly lines. I'm going to make them longer towards the end of the page, and they're going to get shorter as they get closer to the middle. And they're a little wiggly, so you don't want to make them perfectly straight. Next, I'm going to grab a lighter green and just start to add like little ovals coming off of it that kind of look like leaves. Ooh, that was exhausting. Now let's add those lily pads to our picture. The colors we're going to be using for our lily pads are light green, dark green, light blue, and purple. So there's a couple things I want you to notice. First thing is that our lily pads are not circles. They're actually ovals. That's because we're looking at these lily pads from an angle. So you don't want to make them circles, you want to make them ovals. Next thing that's super important is that the ones closer to the bottom of the page are going to be bigger, while the ones further up on our pond are going to be teeny, teeny, tiny. And that's because they're further away from us. So go ahead and just start adding them in wherever you feel like. And you can just add them in little clusters or spread them all out, however you want to do it, whatever makes you happy. Once all those lily pads are in there just the way you like it, it's time to move on to our watercolor painting. So what I'm going to do is pick up the biggest brush I have and just go ahead and cover my entire page with water. And don't be afraid to go right over your oil pastels. It won't mess them up or smudge them at all. That's the wonderful thing about this. So just go over the entire page with clean water. We're going to start with some purple watercolor paint. So go ahead, take your brush, dip it in the water, and mix some water into your paint. From there, I'm just going to start streaking in some purple on my pond, and I want to keep it nice and watery. So if I see that there's a big spot where there's like a lot of paint, I can dip into my water and just kind of spread that paint out a little bit. Okay, next color we're going to do is some blue. So same thing, I want to keep it light and watery, not too dark. If it starts getting dark, I can add water to just kind of thin out the paint a little bit more. So don't be afraid to go right over those lily pads with the paint or right up against the bushes. It's just important that we cover our entire page with some paint. Look at my sample picture, you'll notice how there's a little bit of like a deeper purple in the back of the pond and also right up against the bushes. It's kind of like a little bit of shading. So what I'm going to do is take some purple on my brush, and this purple is not as watered down as the purple I was using before, and I'm just going to work that into the edges of my pond. Also, don't forget to go up at the end of the pond as well. With just some water on my brush, I'm blending out that deep purple that I added. So we're going to move on to the top half of our picture now. I'm going to go ahead and just re-wet the top of my paper just because I feel like it may have dried out while I was working on my pond. So I have a wash of water over it, and now I'm just going to pick up some green, and I'm just going to go over everything with some green paint. You can go right over the bridge, right over the bushes, all of it. Did with the purple shading, I'm going to add a little bit of green that's less watered down up at the top of the picture where I have those vines, and I just think that gives it a cool effect. It kind of helps frame the picture a little bit better. Okay, I'm going to pick up my tiniest brush and add some little lilies to some of these lily pads. I'm going to mix some pink by taking white and red and mixing it together. And then I'm just adding these little spiky lines coming up from certain lily pads. It's super important that the ones closer to the bottom of the page are bigger than the ones over on the end of the pond. So you want to make the ones in the end super, super teeny tiny, like little dots. After your painting is completely dry, you can go ahead and pull off the painter tape from the edges of the watercolor paper. This is the most fun and satisfying part, in my opinion. And just like that, we are all done. Thank you guys so much for painting with me. I had the best time showing you how to do this Monet-inspired painting, and I can't wait to see you next week.
Hello, I'm Miss Alana. I am from the Universal branch of the Boys and Girls Club, and for today's YI Fine Art activity, we are going to learn to draw and color a sunflower with markers. We're also going to learn about the parts of a sunflower and how we can turn a realistic picture into a more stylized drawing. So I'm going to list all of our materials and then we're going to get started. Okay, so the materials for this project is a piece of paper, can be any size that you have on hand, a pencil, I have a mechanical pencil, a good eraser, and then a pack of markers. So I have the fine point Crayola ones. If you have the thicker markers, that's okay too. We are going to use yellows and oranges and different shades of green. So just make sure you have different shades of those colors. And so we'll get all of our materials together and then we'll get started. And again, here's the list of the materials I just talked about. And before we get started with our drawing, we are going to look at our inspirational photo for today. This is a sunflower, and this is what we're going to base our stylized drawing of a sunflower off of. And this photo lists the parts of a sunflower, so we're going to learn how to draw the petals, do the center that is filled with seeds, and then how to draw the stem. So by having a reference picture, we can look back and then determine what we still need to draw and what kind of details we can add to our drawing. So the first thing we're going to do is draw our sunflower. So I'm going to grab my mechanical pencil and I am going to start by drawing a kind of small circle in the center of my paper. And when I'm drawing, I personally like to draw really light with little dashes as I draw. I do this because if I mess up, then it is easier to go back and erase. It doesn't make it quite as hard to erase lines, and you don't get that dark line underneath it. So I like to start by doing one kind of near the middle upper section, and all it is like a teardrop shape, or I guess you could call it like a leaf shape. It's just a petal. So I am going to do 6 petals all the way around. I have my top one, and now I'm going to go underneath and do the same thing I just did, roughly about the same size as well. And then I'm going to do 2 on this side and 2 on that side. And it is hard to get everything perfectly symmetrical, so don't stress out too much about making it perfect. Every petal on a flower is different, so don't stress out. And then one more on this side as well. And then make any adjustments. Gonna make this one a little bit bigger, and there we go. That is the first set of petals. So now I'm going to do almost the same thing we just did before, but instead of doing an entire petal, I'm going to do a half one in between these, kind of sticking out. So it's not going to be that full shape, it's only going to be halfway, and it's going to be about the same height as the other petals that we did as well. So for example, this is our first one, and it's just like another petal peeking through the 2 of them. So you have your 2 points, in between the two flowers. Now, if some of yours are uneven, they might be a little bigger or wider on certain areas, and that's fine. You just don't want to make them any taller than the ones that we did during our first round. And you also want to make sure your lines are slightly curved. You don't want straight lines. You want them nice and soft and curved. And that is the second group of petals. So now we will do the third layer of petals, and we're going to do the same thing we just did between the two, but now in between each one of these blank sections. So we're going to make them even smaller than these ones. We don't want them to be taller than any of them. They're going to be just about the same size in height, just peeking out between the two. So nice little ones just peeking out between all of these blank spots. And try not to make straight lines. Keep them slightly rounded. Some of them are going to be bigger than others, but they're never going to be taller. All right, so that is it for all of our petals. So now we're going to go back into the center of our flower. We're going to add some texture here where all of the seeds from our sunflower would come from. And to do that, we're going to do a half circle line all the way around our original circle that we sketched. And be careful, don't try to make any of them too big than the others. So once you have that first set, we're going to go back in and we're going to do another one. Don't do these ones too big or too small, because we're going to have another layer within them as well. So that is the third one, and then we're going to have one much smaller one right in the center. And this one's only a couple of little bumpies big. So we have 3 layers in our petals, and we have 3 layers in our center as well. And now we're just going to draw a stem coming off of it. It's just a line, slightly curved, and draw another line, slightly curved next to it, and then kind of close to our sunflower, we're going to draw a leaf shape. And that is it for the leaf and the stem. So now we can look back at our inspiration photo and compare it to the drawing we just did. We can see multiple layers of flowers. We have some texture in the center for our seeds, and then we have a nice stem with a leaf attached to it. Okay, so now I have my drawing up here, and I'm going to grab my markers again. And I'm going to start with the lighter yellow color, and I'm also going to grab the medium kind of yellow orangey color as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is go back to that very first petal that we drew, and I'm going to outline it with the marker and then color it in. And I'm going to try and color it so you don't see a lot of streaks on it. And then I'm going to do that for each one of these petals. So it's best to do your outline first, so then you know how far to color. And it's okay that the pencil is showing up underneath it because we're going to outline this at the end and you won't notice it. And now just 2 more. Do the outline and color in. And then our last one. And a good way to color in fast is by using the side of the marker. So now that I have that, I am going to grab my darker yellow color and I am going to go back and outline our sketched area. So all I'm doing is outlining each one. We're not going to color in with it. And it doesn't have to be perfect on that line that we did before. And then that is it. And we're going to do the same thing for the second set of petals. Go in and color each one of them. These ones are a little easier because there's not quite as much space for them. That is it for the second row. I'm going to grab that darker yellow color again, and this time I'm going to make my outlines a bit thicker. So you can use that side of your marker to create a thicker line. And you can always do a couple of passes to make sure it's thick enough. And then that is it for our second row. And now with the last third row, we are just going to use that darker yellow color all the way around. So outline each one and fill it in. And the reason why those are darker is because it is a shadow. So those ones are further away than the rest of the petals. They're in a shadow, so they're darker. So now that we're done with the petals, we can grab our markers again and grab the light brown. And we're going to outline this center circle we drew before. And then shade it in completely. And then we are going to grab our markers again and take the greens. So I have a lighter green and a darker green. And I'm going to fill in the stem and then outline the leaf and color that part in as well. And just as we did before with our petals, we're going to add some outlines to the stem. So on the stem, I'm actually only going to make it darker on one side. And then I'm going to take a marker can outline both sides of the leaf. At this time, you can add like a line and add some other lines, giving some more dimension to the leaf as well with that darker green marker. And that is it for our main section of coloring. I'm going to grab my markers again, and I'm going to grab the black, and I'm going to start outlining all of those sketch lines that we did. So I'm going to start with our center. I'm going to do the little half circle squiggles we did to make them pop, make them darker. You could also do this part with a darker brown marker if you had one. And then be careful as you follow that circle. And then we're going to do each one of the petals going all the way around. And you don't want to make them too thick, because then you won't see that orange outline we did before. So I like to go kind of section by section. So I did my big one first, and then I fill in the smaller ones. So bigger one, and then fill in the smaller ones. Then our last bigger one, outline that, and then all of the smaller areas. So that is it for the main section of the flower. We're going to do the same thing to the stem as well. I'm not going to do that part where it crosses over though, just the outline. If you want, you can do those lines we did on the inside too. And that is it for the sunflower. And now we're going to check back in with our inspiration photo to see what kind of details we can add to our drawing. We can see that there is more like definition within the petals themselves. So at this time, if you want, you can go back. You can make any of your edges darker if they got kind of covered over by the black marker. And you can do something similar to our leaf to give it more definition. You can do some lines, like the indents of the flower from our picture. You can even do some on the ones further back. You could do some on the edges. Just keep adding more layers and referencing that picture of the real flower. And that is it for the sunflower. So now we can compare our inspiration photo to the final drawing that we did. We learned the parts of a flower, the petals, the center, and the stem, and we recreated them in a more stylized cartoon way. So good job everyone. Thank you for joining me with this art tutorial, and I hope you had fun.